Oh shit, we're fat fucks.
I love how it's just called for Sally, where you can get a 5. I don't know, man. In case people don't know what S sounds like, I did put it in here for God's sake.
There is a particular word.
The rule,
It's
you can't do it in lots of
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
like
6, 7,
6,
8,
7,
9, 10, 11. It's the 12th word in
Oh, Orc Warrior.
performance anxiety from the three of us.
So nervous. God, we're so people should listen to us because we have such expert knowledge and we read the rules and we know what they do.
Hi, John. Have fun editing, dickhead.
John, can you just put in
Thanks
like
for
a recording of Welcome to Mountain Goat Gaming, just so we can get like a taste for who you are?
Yeah. Put your face and just say,
Group chat.
"What's up? I'm John, and not really entirely sure what ethnicity he is."
He is Filipino, so he does have the Spanish Asian mix.
Fuck yeah.
That's hot. I love you, John. Appreciate you.
What's up, gamers? Welcome to Mountain Goat Gaming. My name is Alex, and I'm here with my esteemed colleagues.
Jay, the handsome moustache, Sean, Hoodie Central, and Tyler, he's not here. He's sick as a dog.
He's a little sick boy.
Not right now.
Oh, that's
what
that
you were
was the
doing?
joke. I was sitting there going, damn, something's happened with your mic. You know what else has happened with Jay that he hasn't fucking realized is he doesn't know how to spell Isengard. But that's
It's
the
on the
focus
YouTube, man.
of today's video is another faction deep dive into 3 somewhat similar factions out of Isengard: Ugluks Scouts, Lurtz Scouts, and the Wolves of Isengard. Guys, before we get in, general thoughts about these lists. What do we think? Are they any good? And then we'll deep dive.
Fucking frothed Ugluk Scouts in the previous edition. Have not properly looked them at this edition, so I'm excited. This is more of a learning video for me. So I'm going to be, you guys are my teachers, and I'm your student.
Sean, I don't know who you sold your Ugluks Scouts to, but I promise by the end,
You'll buy him.
you're going to want to buy them back.
You'll buy him.
Yeah.
I think
Or
these
Metal
armies
Scouts.
are like hyper-performing armies at the 500 to 600 points, and anything above that they tend to struggle just due to a couple of spoilers that I don't want to reveal right now. However, if there's a tournament within that range and you want to do well, listen in. But
And
before we do that, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell button for notifications. Thank you to Bards, Table, and Oz Wargaming. Don't forget to use our affiliate code GOAT, capital GOATS, for Sally, where you can get a 5. I don't know, man. In case people don't know what S sounds like, where you can get an extra hill troll or I think they're switching to
Helm.
and
Crazy Helm.
now.
Oh.
I'm fairly certain that one is now switching over, so we're not just going to keep on getting free hill trials forever. Bards are wanting to start splicing it up with a couple of new different models, just giving something back to the community for ordering stuff you were already going to buy. So why not use it? Yeah.
Without further ado,
So the way that we run these videos, Sean, and just for viewers at home, is we're going to run you through the profiles, the bonuses, and just like a general overview of the army. That way, if listeners at home are just getting into the game, they know what they're looking for. They know what the profiles and the stats are. So there's no assumptions whatsoever. It wouldn't be a faction deep dive without starting from the foundation. Alex, do you have? Let's go with Lurtz Scout.
Whom do you serve? Saruman.
so we'll go through the profile so we can set the foundation, then we'll head into our army bonuses. So, Lurtz, the big dog, is coming in at a thick 100 points. Sizable chunk of your army, you need him to do something. And especially for those who have been around, this guy is started off in the early 2000s as a really meh profile. 2 attacks, 2 wounds, very meh. Got a decent upgrade last edition. He's really hitting his form right now.
Oh yeah.
Fight 6. just to start it off.
Huge.
3+ to shoot, also relevant. Strength 5. Every Uruk hero is strength 5, but fantastic. D6, also not a common thing on Uruk named heroes. A lot of the scouts are D5. D6 is great, doesn't have to worry about strength 3 troops as much. 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 4+, intelligence 5+.
That checks out. I think that makes sense, personally.
Yep, I think the courage is fantastic. And the intelligence, when it comes up, you really want to be passing it.
Yeah.
So that's fine. 3 might, 3 will, 1 fate. Has armor, hand weapon, and Uruk-Hai bow. So that's strength 3, 18 inches. And can take a shield for free, which does not increase his defense because he does have the bow, but does give him access to some fun special rules. Heroic.
It's baked in now, and I'm so excited.
It's just there. We have challenge, march, strength, and strike. Strength is now genuinely viable. Hit strength 10.
Brother, watching Freka wound a Mumuk on 4 was very cool. Strength is sensational.
Very good.
Very nice.
We have some special rules, and hopefully, so sharpshooter to start off. Wonderful. Whether we want to hit something on top or just kill a horse, we love it. Find the halflings. In scenarios that use the Maelstrom of Battle special rule, his warband does not need to roll to determine where they arrive. He may choose the result, which is fantastic. It's just amazing. You put down your other warbands first. You spend the might if necessary to get let's say you have 3 warbands. One warband goes down, the other one spends might to join them. Lurtz then joins the entire army for free. It's just fantastic. Shield throw. If Lurtz is equipped with a shield, which again it's free, take it. Once per game, he can use it as a throwing weapon and re-roll to hit. That was a major issue that I hated last edition, where he would do it and then just roll a 1 or 2 and it sucked. So re-roll to hit on 3s. It has a strength of 4, and any model on a 25mm base that is hit will be knocked prone immediately. Once he's thrown in the shield, obviously he does not have it anymore, but he doesn't lose defense because he's already defense 6.
Yeah, it's such a win-win, isn't it? Like, it's fucking hell.
Yep, and you put your opponent in this weird situation where you put them down and you go, cool, I could strike, force them to strike defensively, or you're going in for the kill shot on something. If you just need a kill to happen, it's just so nice. Strength 4 is also brilliant. Oblivious to pain. Whenever he suffers a wound on the roll of a natural 6, the wound is ignored.
Yeah, this is huge. This is actually the best we have ever seen Lurtz. Full stop. And we haven't even gotten to one of the best parts yet. Like, him and this profile, full stop, I think is just phenomenal. Let's just, like, without going too deep into the video, the fact that he's got a bow on a 3+ puts him on Vrasku level. Last edition, everyone took Vrasku. Obviously, he doesn't have a crossbow, but still strength 3, can snipe out horses. So let's just think about Lurtz at 600 points. Typically, your opponent will have 1, maybe 2 decent big heroes, typically mounted, right? Lurtz is the almost picture-perfect profile to A, take them off their horse, and then B, knock them prone and then go in for a kill. Like, Jesus Christ, this is phenomenal package in my mind.
The evil Legolas.
Yeah, I just think he's such a nice salary combo.
Yeah, I think this Lurtz profile is everything that Isengard players wanted in the previous edition from him. He was 90 points and he just felt underwhelming. On paper, he looked pretty good, but on the table, he just never cut it. Whereas this Lurtz, he's seen the mustard and is cutting it. So, very much a big fan of this.
Okay, and let's go on now to his right-hand man, Ugluk, who has actually gotten a decent points hike. And Sean, I don't know if you've read into it too much, but it is worth every penny.
I have heard you speak about Ugluk over the past couple of weeks, couple of months, however long it's been, and I have absolutely no complaints with the price hike that he's got.
Yeah, 100%. He doesn't come fully into his own in Lurtz Scouts, but once we get into Ugluk Scouts, we'll come back to this rule. And so, fairly similar profile, just obviously down a couple stats. For 75 points, fight 5, 4+ to shoot, which does matter because he got his whip back. Justice for the whip. I have forgotten to use it every time I've played. But
shit, I didn't realize. Whip, I like it.
Strength 5, D5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage and intelligence 6+, 311. He has march, strength, and strike. I like that. And you'll notice all of these Uruk-Hai scout captains and the named ones all have march. So you can pick and choose when you need it. Head taker. Should his army be broken, and then at the start of his activation, instead of taking his courage test, Ugluks can choose to kill a friendly warrior model within 2 inches, remove the killed model as a casualty. If he does, he will automatically pass his courage test. His standfast will be increased to 12 inches, and it will affect both heroes and warriors.
Damn.
Fantastic. Obviously fantastic.
Love it.
Especially because now there's no like, oh, I want to take Saruman and Ugluk and they both do the same thing. No. You really want this.
Yeah.
12-inch standfast that affects your leader, and Ugluk doesn't have to do a courage test. And it's at the start of his activation, so it's like when you break, you just, if you need to, an Uruk-Hai comes and runs over to him, he chops off their head, and then he goes, cool, we're good.
Let's go. Yeah.
And 12 inches is great for a lot of, even domination. You can hit 3, maybe 4 of those points
Objective
with a
based,
12-inch standfast. Yep. Fantastic. I'm going to hold off on the second special rule. We'll circle back. We'll get back to it because it doesn't happen here, but it will come up in Ugluk Scouts. And then the only person we really need to talk about is the humble scout captain, 55 points, fight 5, strength 5, d5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, 2-1-1, also 6+ intelligence and courage, with heroic march and a 2-handed weapon.
Damn.
He's just a nifty little dude. 55 points, I'm pretty sure, it's just so solid. And the 2-handed weapon is just so much better. On strength 5,
huge.
Sensational.
My just before we get too far into this, just back on Ugluk and his head taker ability.
Yes.
One of the biggest reasons why I like it is the fact that it's the start of his activation phase. If you want to break, you don't have to activate the head taker. If you need certain people to stay alive and keep objectives whilst breaking to get the game done quickly, activating that at the right time, it doesn't always. I think a lot of like newer players I see, they're doing their heroic checks straight away. I think that's a 40k thing. But like with SBG, you don't have to do it. It's when your character is activated, then the standfast pops. But it's also advantageous to reduce your model count to end the game if things need to happen then and there. So
100%.
Just a holistic look at the board is never a bad thing.
You also don't have to do the head tag. If you want to stand fast, but you don't want it to be too big, you just do a normal courage test if you want. So it's fantastic. And then the bread and butter of these lists, Uruk-Hai Scouts for 8 points. We're getting, honestly, I think one of the most solid profiles in the game. It's just super standard. I think you're paying for what you get. Fight 4, 4+ shoot, strength 4, d4, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 7, intelligence 7, with the options of a banner for 25 points, a shield for 1 point, and Uruk-Hai bow for 1 point.
So looking at about a 9-point model.
Yep. And you can take it without them, though, which is fantastic. In order to get those like 1 points here and there, you can just take no war gear because they come with no war gear if you want. The last profile is a really interesting one that has had to change this edition, the Uruk-Hai Drummer. So it is an independent hero, which means it can be in his own warband or in another hero's warband, taking up a spot as usual. For 35 points, we're getting essentially a warrior profile. The only difference, an extra defense, an extra courage, and a fate, one single fate, and the war drum. Obviously, or not obviously, but hopefully people are aware, the war drum is now, when you activate him, you can choose to use the war drum. Oh, sorry, start of your move phase, you activate the war drum. Once you activate him and move him, you begin a 12-inch heroic march.
So no stacking of march and drums.
No stacking, but it also means that it's not like it happens instantaneously. It's only when you start moving that model. So you can charge dudes into combat and then go, cool, my drummer's going to go now. And then everyone else that's not in combat can move an extra 3 inches.
Yep.
Fantastic. So we've built up, that's the bedrock. We've established the base. Let's get into Lurtz Scouts. Let's see what we're getting. So, first thing, Lurtz, General Hunter, free heroic combats.
That's the best bit.
Love it.
I mean, you just get so much maneuverability. You get so much tempo. You have this real sense of, he's just going to keep coming after me. He's just going to keep running around. He's gonna, if he ends up on a flank with 3 dudes all fighting one, and then they flick around the back or end up going on to destroy supplies or something, it's super annoying. And if he goes and shield tosses your general and then kills him and then gets a might point back, just really annoying.
Yeah.
And to top it all off, every single friendly model in the list is 8-inch movement. Every single model is woodland creature.
Yep.
Sensational.
Yep.
Finally, and I think this is one of the most significant things, like a lot of the fighting Uruk-Hai lists, Lurtz's scouts do not count as broken until they've suffered 66% of their casualties.
Yeah, this is nice.
Amazing.
And this is very different to last edition, where it was, you don't do your courage test till 66, but you break at 50. No, your new break point is 66%, which means that it's actually way tougher for your opponent to make sure they get the break points. And I think that can genuinely win you games.
And it's crazy when you're D5 on your troops, and D5 falls apart relatively quickly. This 66 instead of the 50, 51, huge change. You can be a bit more reckless with your chaff.
So, big picture, setting up your army, you can expect this army to be moving 11 inches comfortably. Once lines have engaged, you can expect Lurtz to be, if you're just versing a 6-inch line with not a lot of cav, you can expect Lurtz to potentially bounce back and forth, killing a couple of people, softening up a few blows, and then having all your scouts go in at once and just roll dice. Interestingly, there's no spears. So this is a non-traditional wall-to-wall army. This is an army that's literally going to do this, and then do this, and then come to close.
The people not watching it have fun trying to figure out what you meant by that.
Hannibal at Canai.
True. We're going to be wrapping and trapping.
That's it.
We're going to be strong side, weak side. We're going to be using those flanks. And how are we going to get on the flanks? We have a drum to give us 11-inch movement. We have a free heroic combat to send dudes around the flank. Legolas? I'm sorry, not Legolas. Ew. Lurtz. When he does the heroic combat on the flank or something, you're already ready.
Beautiful.
He doesn't have to go with them. He can just go back behind the lines while a couple of Uruk-Hai go and trap some spears and pull them off.
Lurtz is your slingshot. You keep him on that flank and you heroic combat. You swing the other 4 or 5 models down the line. Lurtz stays there or moves back a little bit, goes into the next guy, takes another 4 or 5, throws them around the flank as well. It's disgusting.
Yep. Yeah. You also have you can get a decent number of bows.
Yeah.
That are all strength 3, 18 inches, which allow you not only to go, hey, come and fight me over here, and then it allows you to pick where you want to fight, and then get an even better wrap, because they just have to come towards you, and eventually you just tighten the noose. But even better is that they're still, every single one of those bowmen, still strength 4, still fight 4, still great at what they do.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can look past the fact that you can move 5.5 inches with these bows and still shoot.
That's huge. I think especially when considering elves are limited with their number of bows, and they love the fact that they have strength 3 bows, because strength 3 effectively for some armies is just like fighting in combat with no real kickback. So if this army is scared or needs to take a shooting war, doesn't really care. It's happy to throw 20 dice comfortably in some cases and take that shooting war.
I can't wait for John to cut this out, because this is really shit.
John, put an image or a thing of a segue going through. Anyway, we carry on. Ugluks Scouts.
So, Ugluks Scouts.
Give him some medicine, boys!
Very, very different vibe. Some fundamentals in there, but very different. So we're going to skedaddle back to Ugluk. Let's look at his second special rule. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. At the start of his activation, Ugluk can kill a friendly orc warrior within 2 inches of him, remove the killed model as a casualty. If he does this, all friendly Uruk-Hai models, that includes himself and other heroes, within 6 inches gain the Fearless special rule. Very good, very good. And gain a bonus of +1 to wound when making strikes until the end of the turn. Huh? 1 orc warrior, 6-point warrior, kill him, +1 to wound on every Uruk-Hai, and
worth it.
That includes himself. That includes your Uruk-Hai scout captains that are already +1 to wound.
+2 to wound. Oh,
It just gets
also,
fucking better.
if your army is already broken, that counts as your head taker. So you also gain the 12-inch standfast that affects heroes anyway.
damn.
It's all wrapped in. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
We have to look at the other pieces though, because we get no.
Yeah,
at
we
this
do.
point, Lurtz is dead. We have no Lurtz.
Correct.
Ugluk is our leader, and he's definitely not as stable. So we need some boys to help him out. Let's go to the Orcs. We have Grishnak, who I think is relatively worse this edition.
Yes.
He is worse, unfortunately.
Well, it's only to 2 points of might. Yeah, that starts off pretty rough.
Well, yeah, we're going to fight 4, strength 4, D5, and can't take a shield anymore to get to D6. 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 7+, intelligence 5+.
Bit of a dum dum.
Love that. No, smart 5+.
Oh yeah,
fine,
smart
though.
is
He's
actually
a devious, cunning boy.
is bang on average.
Instead of 3-1-1 as he was last edition, he's now 2-2-1. It sucks to lose the might point. The will can be kind of clutch, but not ideal. Has heroic strike, big plus, obviously from fight 4, but it's a threat against even fight 5 heroes, even some fight 6 heroes in the wrong circumstances. So Grishnak has backstabbers. When your opponent is trapped, he gets +1 to wound.
Sensational. Yep.
And the new rule, let's put a maggot hole in your belly. When he wins a duel roll and there are no other allies involved in the combat that includes supporting models, he can choose a single enemy model on a 25mm base that was engaged in combat, roll a d6, on a 4+, they're knocked prone before strikes are made. Ooh. It sounds all well and good until you realize, like, that doesn't come up much. I'm going to be honest. You want him to have a support, realistically. It's not like he's going to have trouble wounding most of the time because you're in a hordish army. You have orcs and Uruk-Hai.
You're rapping, trapping.
Yeah, your average model price is like 7.5 points. I haven't had it come up personally, but he's still a good little dude. And then we move on to an upgraded profile, Snaga, who I think he's not that. He's pretty good. Snaga is a 50-point orc captain. He's literally the exact same profile as an orc captain. Fight 4, strength 4, D5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 7, intelligence 6+. I think is slightly better. He has heroic challenge instead of heroic march, and the rule cunning mind. Whenever he benefits from the heroic action of another friendly hero, he may roll a d6. On a 5+, he may regain a might point he spent earlier in the battlefield. In the battle. Additionally, he may choose to not benefit from the heroic move or march of a friendly hero, in which case he does not forgo his activation and may activate as normal.
This is huge. The 5+ regaining a might point, sure. Here's your move battery, we potentially can get one back. Nice. The fact that he can hold and not activate in the march that's already been called can just catch people in the thick of battle.
Yep.
I love this.
Just leaving a little gap and going, he's just going to chill there. And then he just sneaks in and goes for it. It's fantastic. I actually think the 5+ is also stupendously good.
I do have a question about that.
Yeah.
So it says whenever Snaga benefits from the heroic action of another friendly, I wasn't reading.
So not himself,
I did a J.
But that includes every single heroic move, heroic march, heroic combat. Yeah. So you have multiple chances to do it. Quick aside, I was playing Jacob the other week, playing a little cheeky game. I got a scout against Riders of Aemma. Oh, you know how it is. Playing against these Riders of Aemma. Last turn of the game, Jacob spends his last might on a move. I have a might, 2 might on Ugluk, and that's it. Call heroic move as well. I win. Snaga hits the 5+. With him, Snaga and a bunch of dudes go into Gandalf. I strike and combat.
Sure.
Kill Gandalf, get into Aemma, kill him as well last turn of the game.
Only
because he got that recursion.
That's
and
clutch.
There's been some little things where he just gets it and your opponent's like, I didn't think he'd have might. I'm like, he does now.
He does, yeah.
He's just a little cheeky boy.
Because previous edition, I don't think anyone was running Snaga in their Ugluk Scouts list. He had that similar rule where he...
it was just didn't have to stay within range.
Didn't have to stay within range of all that stuff. Which, cool, whatever. But I think this 5+ ability, that really elevates him Yeah, massively.
He
So
kind
big
of puts a
fan of
little
it.
minor target on his back, which you don't really care about because
Yeah, it's a 50-point
he's
shitter.
he's a 50-point shitter in a list where you have like 40 models.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Ugluk and a scout captain and all the scouts. We have Grishnak and drummers still. I wouldn't necessarily take them because you have a lot of orcs.
Yes.
But Grishnak, Snaga, and orc warriors. Just little boys.
Little dudes.
It's fine. So, a couple things. Ugluk must be taken, he's the leader. Orc warriors must be in orc warbands, Uruk-Hai models in Uruk-Hai warbands.
Makes sense.
So, all Uruk-Hai become move 8. They also get woodland creature. So not your orcs, but you still have 8-inch movement, which is fantastic. Amazing. We have Get a Fire going, a rule that I always forget. Once per game in scenarios that use objective markers, Ugluk can use a special rule during his move to choose an objective marker in base contact. As long as he's alive and on the battlefield, friendly models within range of the chosen objective marker gain the dominant 2 special rule.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
It's
That's
great.
something you
alive.
should not
he
be
needs
forgetting.
to be alive, but
Yeah.
damn, giving dominant 2 to all your little critters that are hanging around with your 12-inch stand fast that you
Correct.
pass automatically is fantastic. And
God, you want to play some hold ground with these boys?
oh, dude, it's horrible. And the pièce de résistance, animosity.
Yeah.
Friendly orc models gain a bonus of +1 to wound when making strikes if there's a friendly Uruk-Hai model engaged in the same combat, and vice versa.
Yep.
So, quick summary. Orcs get +1 to wound when they're fighting with Uruk-Hai.
Yep.
Uruk-Hai get +1 to wound when fighting with orcs. Uruk-Hai get +1 to wound when Ugluk has chopped an orc's head off. The scout captain gets +1 to wound because he's two-handed. And you
Plus
have
1 to
multiple
wound, baby.
strength 4 and strength 5 heroes.
There's a lot of pluses.
Fun, and Grishnak's got backstabbers.
Oh yeah, Krishna can also get to +2 as well.
Damn.
So you can crack the highest defense stuff, no issue.
Yeah.
And if something is low defense, you're essentially, if you win the fight, you're guaranteed to kill it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I had a game against a friend who was running Azog's Hunters Mounted, and it was cool. It's a nice list. Every turn I'm killing and I'm getting animosity on those big bases. 2s to wound.
Oh,
I have had the Uruk-Hai Scout Captain walk up to a Defense 5 model. It's 4s to wound. I'd killed the model, I had animosity. It was auto wound. I needed 4s to wound, and I had +3 on every roll.
Yeah.
okay.
I went,
now.
cool, there's 4 automatic wounds before I roll.
Yep.
And
Right.
that's just so much lethal threat. And to be clear, you're getting way more models than Lurtz Scouts. Your leader is 25 points cheaper.
Hmm.
Your other heroes are just little gribbly orcs or a scout captain who is again only 55 points. And then you have roughly half your army is orcs who are 6 points a pop.
Now, similar to the last edition, you don't get animosity when spear supporting, correct?
You do not. You need the orc in combat. Yes.
Yeah. Do you? We'll obviously get to lists soon, but do you take spears in this list?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thought as
So that's
much.
with the Isengard or captains. They're capped at D6, and you then take, and there's no.
Oh yeah,
punch.
you can take orc captains, I guess, but I think Snarga's just better.
Yeah,
You don't need it. You don't really need the. You're not going into combat unless you have a significant advantage with your heroes anyway. You don't need them to be trying to punch up into anything too big.
All right, we are going to wrap up with the final list being Wolves of Isengard.
Wolves of Isengard, led by Shaku, Warg Rider Captain. The only other things you can take in here are Orc Captains on Warg, Warg Riders, and Wild Warg, so should be nice and easy. Shaku, Fight 4, Strength 4, D5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, Courage and Intelligence 6+, 3/1/1 for My Will Fate. He has Armor, a Riding Dagger, and a Warg. His Riding Dagger is a hand weapon. Whenever an enemy model makes a strike against him, but fails to wound, he may immediately make a single Strength 4 hit against that model.
Mhm.
Very nice. He has Heroic March, he has Heroic Strike, he has Expert Rider, and he has Fury of the Pack. Whilst he has the Cavalry keyword, whenever he charges, increases his 5 value to 5 and his attacks to 3 until the end phase of that turn. For a 70-point model,
Has made him so nice.
considering
So
previously he was, Fight 4, 2 attacks with no way to get higher and didn't have Strike, to now get that is a phenomenal upgrade. It makes him such a viable choice now to lead the lines.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic.
Awesome.
Warg Riders are just orcs on a warg.
Yep.
Only difference is wargs are great because they give you strength 4.
Big fan.
They can stick around after you kill their rider.
Pretty
Courage
cool.
8+, it happens.
It's really fucking funny when someone calls a heroic combat on a warg rider and the warg sticks around because they didn't elect to also strike the warg. It's really, really, really funny.
Really funny. Only change, you cannot take banners. Very sad.
Ooh, yes.
You can take throwing spears for 1 point.
Big fan.
Big fan. And then
For one.
Isengard wargs, it's just a warg on foot.
Yep.
On 4 feet.
It's very simple.
The loss to banners is, I don't know,
It's
frustrating.
a bit annoying, but what can you do? And I don't mind.
It's
It's fine.
Jay Clare's trying to turn us into the GBHL. GBHL hates banners, and the rest of the world has to hate banners now too.
Do they make Warg Riders with a banner?
No.
Okay, that's it then.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
It's pretty simple. Cool. Wolves of Isengard may have up to 50% of their warriors armed with throwing weapons rather than the usual 33%.
Huge.
Stunning. You should probably do that. Sharku may declare a free heroic combat each turn if able.
Huge.
Love it.
Massive. And remember, when he's charging as well, 5/5 3 attacks. That's pretty good. Friendly cavalry models will still gain the extra attack bonus even when they charge a cavalry model, and will retain it even if they're subsequently charged by a cavalry model.
Oh, I love it.
Oh.
It won't come up a heap, but just that one time you face another cav army, and they go, "Oh shit."
Fuck
Because
you,
not
Riders of
only is
Rohan.
it, yeah, not only is it just, oh, I'm getting cucked by other cav, I'm getting double fuck.
Yeah.
It's just those extra attacks are massive. But we have more, and these are some of my favorite rules.
Mm-hmm.
There, we have Warg Scouts. At the start of the game, after both sides have deployed, but before the first priority has been rolled, you may select up to D6 friendly warrior models. The selected models may then immediately move as if it was their move phase, and then make a shooting attack as if it was their shoot phase. During this move, friendly models may not move within an inch of an enemy model, and therefore may not charge. In scenarios where models enter the board, the selected models will move onto the board before the first turn of the game, treating any roll to enter the board as a 6. Each model is treated as a separate warband in this instance.
Ooh.
So not only do you get the chance to move up, shoot some bows, or throw some throwing weapons, Maelstrom, you get to have D6 models starting on the board, coming on each one wherever you want.
That's huge.
Massive.
Mm.
Massive. It also counts for, I assume, Reconnoiter. You get 6 models move 10 inches from the start. Well, D6 models.
D6.
But still, you put a couple up on each flank and go, cool, which one are you going to stop?
Yep.
Are you going to put resources into dealing with these guys? Will you be able to get the warbands on in time? It's massive. It's crazy.
So sick.
The shooting is being able to shoot as well. Fantastic. Imagine when like the heirlooms comes back.
Oh,
It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Feels
this
like it's
is
balancing.
this one is the kicker, just to make it all just that little bit worse for your opponent. Ambush. In scenarios that use the Maelstrom of Battle special rule, a Wolves of Isengard army will automatically win the roll to choose who has priority on the first turn. Which, these days, usually you still give it to your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
If both armies have rules that allow them to do this, you roll for it as normal. Additionally, models from this army may charge on the turn they enter the board, even though they may not normally be allowed to do so. Models charging in this manner do not need to take courage tests to charge an enemy with the terror special rule.
Oh my fucking
The reason that's the case is obviously what happens if you fail a courage test while you're off the board.
Yeah.
So they kind of had to do it, but that's massive.
Yeah,
You
that's...
make your opponent go, you let him walk whatever he has on. If it all comes on together, sure, unfortunate. If even one warband is separate or even slightly separate,
Oh, it's
and
so
you just go,
good.
sick, I'll spend whatever money I need to and just immediately just get into combat. You better have it perfectly set up in a choke point so I can't immediately wrap a full warband of Wild Riders behind you.
Hmm.
It's just despicable. It's crazy. And again, imagine if it's an enemy cav army, they physically can't get more than 10 inches away.
Yeah.
Wherever you tried to run to, they will find you. They will.
They'll Liam Neeson your ass.
Yeah, it's so, and again, they can They can throw spears when they enter and charge you. It's very niche. But the advantage they get in those scenarios is not to be laughed at, for sure.
No.
And remember, there's also D6 models already on the board in Maelstrom as well.
Yeah.
So if there's an area where you're like, oh, there's a massive forest, you're going to run into it, every single model goes on and just surrounds that forest.
Yep.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
I feel like that segues quite nicely into the strategy part of it. We touched a little bit on the strategies with Lurtz's scouts before. I think we got excited. Is there anything else we would like to? Because in my mind here, and I'm just going to start the conversation off with what's in my head for the two armies. Lurtz's scout feels like if you are wanting to dabble in the two, start with Lurtz's scout.
Yep.
It's very friendly. You know what I mean? It does one job. It runs. It shoots well. You don't have to think too much. You just let you go.
Solid hero to rely on as well.
Exactly. Like it's really good. Then we're going to pivot to Ugluks scouts. I read Ugluks scouts, and the reason why we're all sitting here frothing at the bit to play it is because of the amount of bonuses you get to wound. However, to get that to work on the board looks really different to what it does for Lurtz Scout. Lurtz Scout is this wrap and trap enveloping thing that's happening.
And you don't care who's doing it because it's all orcs. You don't care about Lurtz Scouts.
But Ugluk Scouts, you need to be really specific with, I need Uruk-Hai, Orc, Uruk-Hai, Orc. Or, like, how are you forming your lines? Are you wanting to have the temptation, because you can take spears in this list, to go a shield and spear line, but then you miss out on animosity a little bit too. But you also want to make the most out of Ugluks, realistically, 4 inches either side. So you can get probably, I reckon maybe 5-6 dudes in total to benefit from that. Like, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot of strategies that come into play here. Alex, when you're managing Ugluk scouts at the helm of, like, you've entered combat, how are you engaging in combat, I think is the first thing I want to know.
Yeah, so you do have to be questioning, do I need when do I need animosity? Sometimes you're facing something that's fight 3 D4 and you go, I have fight 4 warriors that will win the fight for me. I wound on 4s. I put 2 Uruk-Hai in, I get 2 Orc Spears, that'll be fine. As soon as you hit those D6, D7, even D8 is when you really need to be finicky about any way you can getting those orcs in to join the fight and getting those bonuses. And the massive bonus that helps you do it, the 8-inch movement on the Uruk-Hai. They still have it, which means they can fling around the sides and really get into those weird situations, and then the orcs just fill in the gaps. If they were all 6 inches, it'd be far, far tougher. Also, obviously, you're managing a couple things. You need to have basically an orc always near Ugluk, just so he can go kill it and get those bonuses, when necessary. Additionally, you need to know where his 6 inches is for his +1 to wound once you've killed that orc. So it's a lot of finicking. You're also working with a couple fight 4 orc captains, essentially, who you can't face any big hero. Your job, the way to take down big hero is you slam 2 Uruk-Hai and 2 orcs into them and go, cool, if I win this fight, you die. And they roll a 5 high, and then they have to spend a might.
Yeah.
And they do that a couple times, and then Ugluk goes, cool, let's go in. And him and Grishnak go in, and they'll go, cool, we'll both strike. And between them, strength 5 and strength 4 with +2 or +1 to wound,
they'll kill.
They'll cut through 100%. But it's very, very finicky. It's also, I think the discussion about war gear is very, very interesting. Huge. About head-to-head, especially with the orcs. Are you taking spears? Are you taking shields? Are you taking, how many two-handed weapons are you taking? How many bows are you taking? Who are you taking the bow on? Because you can take it on the orcs or the Uruk-Hai. It's all very, very interesting compared to loads of scouts, which is basically just put them on.
Or half and half. Or
that's definitely one third.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the Walk Riders.
Okay. Oh, so let's talk about bows, because in my mind, I'm going to take the Uruk-Hai bows.
Well, for Ugluk, I am taking every single one as an Uruk-Hai bow.
Why though? Like, we know why.
The main thing is they're on an 8-inch moving model that can go through forests, which is again fantastic. They could be, if you need to, moving 4 inches up a turn while still shooting. which is again fantastic. You have strength 3 on those bows, which also means that if you want to shoot into your own combats and kill your own models, no matter who it is, whether they have a shield or not, you're winning on 5s.
Yeah.
Which, when you want to kill your own model, and for those newer players, sometimes there's Aragorn charges one model, and you go, I don't want him heroic combating into more dudes. So you shoot into combat. Hopefully you can hit Aragorn, but also if you kill your own dude and he's dead, Aragorn has no one to heroic combat off.
Yep.
And additionally, they hit on 4s.
Yes. And then they cost the same points, correct?
They are both 1 point.
So there's no reason why you haven't. So let's just pit this discussion now. Strategies, you always take Uruk-Hai bows, full stop, and you max that out as much as you possibly can. The orcs, I truly believe a smattering of two-handers is essential for this army because, again, we want to stack the army bonus. The Ugluks army bonus is +1 to wound. If you can exacerbate that by taking two-handed weapons that stack on top, why wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yep.
And they help whittle down those heroes that Alex was talking about before. If you've gone ahead and you've taken 2 might off Aragorn, and then you go, well, you know what? Maybe let's go for a double strike here and take a gamble. Well, I'm going to throw a couple two-handers in there too, just to get that job done.
It's about just consistently presenting lethal threat and going, if you don't do this, it's going to die.
And with two-handing in this edition, two-handing in this edition is beautiful. You want to take... I don't want to say you want to take as many two-handers as you can, but where in the previous edition you were like, oh, I'll take 2 or 3, couple of two-handers just for a bit of threat. In this edition, you start going, I could start looking at 8 or 9. You know, I can start really maxing out those two-handers. Those Uruk-Hai scout captains that can only two-hand,
but
not a problem.
Yep.
Not a problem. I probably wouldn't have looked at them in the previous edition. This edition, you go, that's fine. I got 2 attacks. I'll roll a 6. It's fine. Two-handing is big.
So, I don't want to sit here and say that Lurtz's Scouts is not a powerful list. I still think that list can and will win tournaments, for sure. The difference is that I think it has a low floor, lowish ceiling.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
I will say Lurtz's Scouts did win a tournament down here that I ran recently.
Oh,
dude. They did win at 450 points, which hits, I think it was Lurtz, Ugluk, a captain, and the drum, and then just as many dudes as possible.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
And it does the job. Ugluk Scouts is definitely harder to manage. It has a far higher ceiling because you can crack into those other armies. The obvious downside is you're working with far less orcs, and those orcs are far less reliable.
Correct.
Which creates some issues. And again, there's more, even the list building itself from the start is an issue.
Hard.
It is very difficult. And I think it's very subjective. We will go through a Ugluks Scouts that I've written, and I will probably get hate comments or messages being like, you're dumb. And that's fine. We all have opinions. And some of them are wrong. And some of them are right.
Hey man, according to our Facebook comments, we were completely wrong, so that's all fine.
Yeah, there's no third book coming. It's all good.
The common theme between these 3 army lists is that it's a consistent wave of overwhelming orcs or Uruk-Hai that are charging towards you. I mean, like pivoting to Wolves of Isengard, we spoke about the Maelstrom and the before game maneuverability that comes into play. That can't go understated. And I think we can talk till we're blue in the face, but unless you go and try that or you see it happen on the board, then you'll have that oh shit moment. This is huge. The fact that you can surround and have such a quick, fast-moving army, no matter what table is put in front of you, that's what Wolves of Isengard are going to give you. The scenarios that we're playing, the incentive to sit back a good 20 inches away from each other and just shoot or not engage is huge. To close that gap as quickly as what Wolves of Isengard and as quickly as what the scout list can do is probably one of the biggest factors that I don't think we've really spoken about yet. And that's why I think they're so powerful at these lower points levels. But we hit a really key weakness with Ugluks. They can't just look at a big hero and go, I've got the answer to that and I can take him out in a heartbeat. They need to work hard to take out those big heroes. If we look at Men of the West, you can look at a Guai here and an Aragorn.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you deal with both of them?
Well, this is the thing. I instantly prioritize. Well, I need to try and stop Aragorn because Aragorn can parry combat. But if he's then got Gwaihir, Aragorn's not mounted too, so that's a bit of a saving grace. But Gwaihir is a fucking menace and is popping up everywhere. And typically with those two fucks, there's a third one who shoots a lot. So like, it's really difficult, and you do have to think. You're still squishy, you're still orcs, but how can you overwhelm with dice to stack the odds in your favor? So when you do roll those sixes and they don't, you're killing, I'd say 80% of the time. That's the crux. That's the strategy that we're talking about. That takes practice. That is not an easy thing to do. And I think that's across all three of these lists, full stop.
So would you guys say that these three armies focus on your opponent's troops, get rid of them as soon as possible, whilst obviously trying to keep your stuff alive, so that you then have that manpower to deal with these big heroes? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, 100%. Between Lurtz and Sharku getting the free hero combats, they're incentivizing you to go and just wipe out dudes. If Lurtz does that, you'll be wrapping around and trapping and getting that more often. If Sharku is doing that, he's doing that with friends who are also mounted. If they get anywhere near equal model count, ahead on model count, that's so dangerous. Ugluk, slightly different, because you still want to be charging their heroes when necessary, and again presenting that lethal threat and going, you have to roll a 6, and if you don't, you're spending the might to make sure you get a 6. But meanwhile, yeah, absolutely, you have a model advantage, you have a haughty army, you want to stay ahead. Because your numbers are a resource and you need to leverage them to do what you need to do, which is, again, get into the heroes and then kill troops.
So I think that segues nicely into list building and factors that you need to have. Like, do you need to have a drum if you've got everyone who can march? Do you need to max out on throwing weapons? Like, what? Let's start with Wolves of Isengard. What's the must-haves and the nice-haves?
I think realistically, in most lists, obviously you take Sharku, you take one, depending on your points limit, 2 to 3 captains. I'd say for most points limits they want to be at, 2 captains is enough.
Yeah.
And then you get essentially fully mounted. You might take some random wargs just to fill in the points or burn some supplies or things, but realistically you want the warg riders. And you're taking 50% throwing weapons. Because you can. And then just weight of dice, eventually you get some kills with them. You probably take a couple bows.
Yeah.
2, 3, just to, if they need to roam at the back and shoot some stuff that tries to get around, sure.
I feel like you'd almost want to take 6 just for those scenarios where if you do roll that 6 for that scouting that scouting special rule, that you do have these 6 guys that can move forward or come on early and shoot, further than a throwing weapon.
Yep. That's fair.
I respect that. Do you feel like this is the list that you would try and build to kite? And like, think Rohan kiting. I think Rohan.
They have incentivized you to do it with the 50% throwing weapon.
Haven't they?
And realistically, it's really hard. Like, you want to get that advantage in numbers or even get it close. And the way you have to do it is throwing weapons, and just, you don't have to kite for, I'm not saying to do it for an hour. That would be disgusting and yuck. But you wait for the optimal charge, that moment where you win priority, you give it to your opponent, they can't charge, they move up, and you go, cool, I can get a really good surround right now. All my heroes can get into warriors, every single one's going to call heroic combat, and we're just going to go for it. For sure. But in the meantime, killing some horses, killing some D5 models, won't say no.
Yeah, true that. Let's start with the Lurtzes before we get into Ugluks, because I feel like we've touched on a substantial amount. What are we doing with Lurtz? In my mind, I'm maxing bows.
Yep, 100%.
I think all of them, you're just maxing bows, not even to go, I'm going to sit back and shoot, but just to convince your opponent to also not sit back and shoot.
Yeah.
And just go, if you want to shoot, we can. I'm going to outmaneuver you. I'm going to drum every turn. I'm going to go 11 inches until I get a point where my 12 archers, after I give you priority, you move or whatever, every single one is going to step just inside 18 inches of 3 dudes. And I'm going to destroy them with every single shot. And then if you move your archers around, I'm going to go behind terrain with my 11 inches. And then you move first, and you move again, and I'm going to swing out, and I'll if that's how you want to play the game, or we can just play it normally, and you can come at me.
Yeah, true. I think that touches on the second must-have is a drummer. You need a drummer if you want, especially I think for Lurtz specifically.
Yeah,
the ability for your whole army, or even 50% of your army, to just wrap or take, a complete flanking maneuver around a piece of terrain is viable, and it won't take you 3-4 turns. It'll take you 2.
Yep.
Huge. That's massive.
Now, for
God's sakes.
Are we saying drummers are must-takes in both Lurtz and Ugluks?
No, just Lurtz, because it hits every single model, and every model is affected by it.
Yep.
With Ugluk, unless you're playing a version where, like at lower points, if you've gone for Ugluk, a scout captain, and then 1 orc warband, and then you're like, maybe it affects like 2/3 of the army, maybe. But realistically, it just doesn't do it.
You'd be better off to take more orcs, realistically.
Yeah.
Let's get to the piece of resistance. Alex, how do you realistically manage your Ugluks? How do you view it? Are you 50-50 on orcs? Are you more Uruk-Hai?
It is definitely just the way the list shakes out, because you're basically getting 1.5 Uruks per orc, and that feels about right. The one thing I noticed playing at lower points is I didn't take enough orcs. Especially if I'm sitting there for 5 turns of the game going, come here, take your head off. Come here, take your head off. They run out. And you need them. And you genuinely need them in combat or spear supporting to help you win the fights and help you kill.
Yeah.
So making sure you don't leave them at home. But I think Uruks, the dominant thing is definitely Uruks, because they are the heart and soul of the list. They are the fight for. They are the strength for.
Yeah. And like the fact that we're sitting here and I'm just skipping over the fact that they're strength 4 is fucking huge. Like, you kill most shit on 5s. Like that's so good. I think the trap to fall into a head taker, or I have to get animosity every single turn, is not needed. You can roll up. You still have a great stat line to fall back on, and dice value. Just what's in front of you. The bonuses are nice for when they come up.
Yep, 100%. And you have so many models. You can have the base, or the middle of your formation is your Orc and Uruk combined formation getting the animosity. You have one flank that is purely Uruks going, we're just going to get around behind you and just get into your spears and annoy you. Yeah. And they'll probably die, but they're going to do their job. Because if you have, just for a turn or two, if your front line only has 1 attack with a banner, and I have 3 to 4 attacks with a banner, with spear supports and everything, I'm going to win the fights most of the time, and I will kill you most of the time. Yep. And that's all you need to get ahead.
Yep, it's beautiful. Let's start looking at some lists, shall we, boys?
We are starting off with Lurtz's scouts. So Alex has gone for Lurtz, obviously, the drummer, like we spoke about. He's got a smattering of scouts there, followed by Ugluk, another smattering of scouts, and an Uruk-Hai scout captain. Max bow limit, I think. Yeah, we've got 12 bows, 8 might in total.
Yep. 600. Don't forget Lurtz has got the bow as well, so you're sitting pretty at 13, which is really nice. True. I think it just does. I don't think it's a hard list to write. You take mostly bows, as many as you can. You could. I think there is a viable thing to drop a couple beneath just to get some more shields. But if you have it, you take them. If you have a drummer, you take it. Most of the warbands are basically full. My thing going above 600 points is where do the points go? 650. The only option really is second banner. And then just fill out the warbands. And that's that's tough. That.
Which I think is rounding out. I think we'll probably finish on Lurtz Scouts for the video, like just the Lurtz Scout section, in saying that I don't think that they work above 600, 650 points. This is their points. This is where they sit.
Yeah, there's only so much wrapping and trapping you can do, because as soon as you get to 750 points, then you're working with these 3 and 2 banners and another captain. They're going to have their choke points, they're going to have their spears, and you just physically don't have the dice to mainly win the fights. You kill solidly, but it's hard to wrap behind some of these lists that also get to hoard out. I'm thinking like Minas Morgul, you can go really hard on numbers. And even though you have the 5 value, they're hitting you back and winning on 4s.
Yep. with
Exactly.
6 points.
But yeah, this could go down all the way to 300, even below, and do really well because Lurtz dominates at those point levels for sure.
Definitely. If you're sitting here and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh my god, this list is fucked. How do I beat it?" Magic will put a real dent and a real stop to any momentum this list can possibly have. Whilst all of these lists are fan-fucking-tastic in combat and they can shoot and they can move, they can't do magic and there's not that much will. So
Yeah, Lurtz has got the 3 will and that's it. And if you shut him down, all the momentum goes. Also, Ugluk and the Scout Captain, D5.
yeah,
If they flop, if they go into 2 dudes thinking they're just going to win, if they flop and they just take even 2 wounds from the 4 dudes, there's just one fate between them and dying.
And again, if you can figure out a way to win the shooting war against this army, they'll crumble at D5, along with the heroes.
100%. All right, and then we've got on to Wolves of Isengard. So again, Sharku, he's a must. Smattering of wargs.
28 at 500.
Oh yeah, I'll be honest. I forgot about the 50% throwing spears. I would definitely drop even like a wild warg to get more throwing spears. But
And then
you get the idea.
Yep. So you increase. So drop 1 warg, go for max bows if you can, and max throwing weapons. Full stop. Also, just before we get too far into this, the fact that we're talking like 15 dead and before 26 dead out of like 38 and 20 respectively. Holy shit!
Crazy.
Mounted model or mostly mounted models is crazy.
This 66% breakpoint is hard.
To be clear, it's only in Lurtz Scouts. We'll just.
I thought I saw it in Sharku's.
No,
just Lurtz.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No. But still, that's 15 models dead though, and 500 points with these guys.
Yeah, crazy. And
28 cab bases is so intimidating.
And remember, the only casualty, like obviously, if they have more shooting, it's going to be not in your favor at first. If they have to come to you and you get that optimal charge at 500 points, let's assume they even have 30 models. If you go in super hard and all 3 heroes go in and all 3 call hero combats, even if only 2 of them get it off, and they get down to 22 models, that next heroic move is going to decide the game.
Yep, you're in. 7 might, cute, 500 points.
With 3 hero combats.
Like, this is right on the money with models, might, and resources that you want. I don't think Wolves of Isengard work at anything higher than this.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I'd say maybe you can push up to 600 with like 1 more captain and dudes, or you just get a bunch more dudes, but so 500 feels pretty good.
Yeah, 500 feels nice.
500 is where it's worked. I can't make 600 work nicely without me just feeling like I'm lacking in comparison to other 600 point lists.
Yeah.
And the fact that I would have potentially 40 wargs for 1 list, like purchasing that.
Crazy.
That is actually a thing. Is also you're sitting there having to bring dismounts.
That sucks.
And also you need to bring dismounts. You need to have wild wargs so you can replace them with.
Talking about dismounts.
Yeah.
Top tier strategy. I promise you, every time you do this, you will always roll an 8+. Dismount your entire army turn 1, and suddenly you've got nearly 50 models.
I thought we were going to say something cool, like which is like in recon or on objectives. Separating,
but there's also that.
Models.
Yes,
don't do that.
There is that. No, don't do what I said.
Don't do what Sean said.
No, don't do what I said.
Funny.
It's really funny. If you do it, it's really, really fucking funny. It was great for AOL. Anyway, but yeah, if you dismount, they have to kill 2 models to kill 1 model.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
They have changed that.
Oh, good.
Oh,
yeah, so now if you kill 1 part of it, it counts as a complete kill.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so no more trying to match up riders and mounts and stuff like that to make it difficult. Which does kill the idea a bit.
On like the
sad
things when purchasing this army, legitimately all 3 bards table,
but
like magnetize your guys to the bargs, so you just pull them off. I think that's the way that I've found.
I know that the G-Dub ones have the riders have a little dick that they can slot in.
Sometimes they work. Just put a fucking magnet in there.
Yes.
Save the time. This army's nice. I think this army is definitely an apex predator at 500.
I didn't think about this. I kind of want to run this at 500 points.
Yeah, so do I. I've been sitting here of everything we've talking about. I'm looking at this going, oh boys,
and I feel like it wouldn't be super expensive.
No.
It's a lot of Warg Riders, and if you order them through GW at full price, so be a bit expensive, but like there's
it's
a
a
lot
big
of
painting
secondhand.
project.
Yeah, oh dude, the wash or contrast and a dry brush on the fur, and you're kind of golden if you just want to get them out and on the table.
Yeah, that is true.
Tracking
let's
legit Sharky though. Fuck that stuff. Let's get to the big one. What did Alex do for scouts? So,
Ooh, yum. The spears is what I'm interested in.
yeah. Uggers, 5 scout shields, 7 scout bows, 1 scout banner, 1 plain Jane scout called Geronimo. Grishnak with an orc banner, so double banner immediately.
Yep.
5 orc spears, 2 orc two-handers, 1 orc shield. Another Uruk-Hai scout captain with 3 scout shields, 7 scout bows. Snagger with 1 two-hander orc and 7 orcs spears. So Alex has gone heavy on orc spears.
Yep.
Why, Alex?
Because spears equal more dice. And realistically, they do the same thing when they're in combat as when they're supporting.
And you get versatility.
Yep, 100%. And again, that first turn can be they're all behind, and then you've got these little gaps in between. Then the next turn you go, cool, half my spears, jump into the line, go.
Yeah. Looking at this list now, if you were to ditch all of the spears, you save 14 points. If I did my math correctly there. Yeah.
Sure.
Then
you
from
need
there-
to take a war gear point.
Well,
you need to take a
I thought you could have them naked. Or is that
you can
scout?
take scouts
that's
naked,
orcs.
not orcs.
Uruk-Hai.
Okay, well then there's no reason not to. Like, there's no reason not to take the spears. Like, that's fine. You crumble just as easily with a shield or not a shield, in my mind.
Yeah,
I
the only
think-
reason that one orc shieldman is there is, honestly, I just played it with one, and he's always just been like in the most random situation and been clutch. He's just shielded and held something, so he's just for me.
Just for you, just your boy. I was going to say, I feel like your orc war gear option, it's either two-handers or spears. But
I can understand a couple.
shielding is the best rule in the game.
Do not
so.
have a heap of shields in this because you've gone every single bows and Uruk. You have 8 shielding Uruks in this list compared to 14 Uruk bows. So having a little bit more D5 isn't bad.
Do you feel like this list, like I'm really big on if your list and your army bonuses are saying, hey, play this way, and you don't fucking play that way because you're shielding.
It's selective. That's the thing. Selective shielding in that one spot just to give your orcs time to do what they need to while that Ministerial Knight keeps coming at you and you go, no.
Yeah.
It's just to add a little bit of thing, but yeah, we've got the two-handed weapons in the spears again, versatile. I think the mix of like when you get that moment of like Uruk and an orc fighting, both with the spear support behind and the banner, that's just like obviously the guys it's supporting don't get the +1, but
still they're throwing a dice to do a wound. That's
exactly. Yeah, I think this just does so much. 45 models with 2 banners.
At 600 points is mental.
If you want to drop the banner, you get to 49 models, I believe.
Oh,
I personally am a big fan of 600 points double banner. I think I start looking at double banner at like 700. Depends on who tells me to run a double banner with my lists. But this is nice. This is real. My gut feeling is like 23 dead for broken on Squishy Boys, as is. You, as a general for Ugluks Scouts, need to watch the momentum counter. Like, if you're not 1 for 1 or 1 for 2 even, which is realistically what you want, like, be aware. Be aware.
You have ways around it, but like Ugluk needs to activate to do head taker.
Yes.
If you get the turn where your heroes are locked up, you are a courage 7+, courage 8+ army.
Yes.
They will run.
Yes.
So being aware of when do I break? Oh, it's going to be in a turn or 2. I need to already prepare for Ugluk to come back or make sure he's going to be able to activate that.
I think that's where the bows are really important in this list. Is you want to pick your opponent apart very early on, and if you can pick out gaps in their line so that you can get your stuff in there for animosity and everything, good stuff.
Definitely.
This is an embodiment of a list style I like, and it's worth talking about it. Versus the other lists are good at 2 things. This one is, I think, deceiving about what it's good at. It has 14 strength 3 bows.
Yes,
that is a lot. They go, you're gonna have to get over here, dude. It's a lot of bows, and then you get there and you go, there's 45 of them, and they all have +1 to wound or +2 to wound. Why is this the case? And it's that deception of going, oh, I'm only really good at shooting. And then you get here and it's like, no, we want to be here as well.
Yeah.
And I love that. I really love that.
Yeah. No, I think this is a great way to finish the video. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully you've stayed with us through all of my fumbling and fucking around. I do apologize for that. I'll do better, Dad. This is part of like our new series where we're just trying to hope to deep dive into specific lists and group where we think is appropriate. So stick around. We will do some good stuff eventually. Unfortunately,
get in the comments. Ask for what do you want to see.
Even jump on Discord and argue with me why you think your list should be on there. On that final note, on Discord, I'm going to open up like a new channel. If you want your models previewed on these videos as painting selections, I'll credit you, etc. Chuck it in there. Make sure you tag me so that way I am able to see it.
Hell yeah.
That's kind of sick.
Get in the Discord.
Yeah, which means if you want that, you got to get in Discord.
From Alex, y'all have a lovely night. Goodbye.
Love you.
Bye-bye.